What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This is the Sugarhill Gang Podcast, and you are being hosted by me, myself, and I, and the coolest cats on the planet. I am the Master G, and I am joined by T Dynasty. Say what's up, T Dynasty.
What's up, T Dynasty?
And that's just, yeah, and Diggity. Diggity. What up, Dig?
Wakanda forever, baby.
Wakanda forever. And ladies and gentlemen, live on the Sugarhill Podcast stage, one of the innovators, one of the alternate hip hop artist of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, Speech of the Arrested Development. What's up, Speech?
What's up, man? It's my honor to be on y'all show, man. Thank you for having me, baby.
It's a true pleasure. It's a true pleasure, man. It's very exciting. I've had a lot of time over the early 90s when you first kind of really, it came in. I was paying very close attention, man. I've been watching hip hop period from a distance initially. Of course, I came back into the fold in 2005. So that period, man, where you were doing the Tennessee and Mr Wendal and people every day, all of that, I was wow. I was like, really, seriously, man. So I want to take the time. That's why I'm excited to do everybody, but there's people that when we get this show, it just means so much. And I think your meaning to hip hop, you know what I mean, is so important. People say we're important, and I understand that because I'm learning that too. But your meaning to hip hop is extremely important because, you took the platform and you added another element to it. You of course, we're the party rockers, get feel good music, the whole 9 yards, and then you got, Mel and Scorp, and then that was consciousness and there's all of that and this, that, and the third, and the Dirty South and this and that, and then the gangster thing and all of it. Because we talk about this, people ask us all the time. People say, how do you feel about hip hop? What is it? And I always say that, hip hop is an evolving situation. It's like a child who, is born, and then that child goes through toddler stage, and then, adolescence, and then adulthood, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And there's so many different elements to it, but at first you don't know what those elements are until they, like if a child is going to just start inspiring to play golf.
Exactly.
You don't really know he's going to be a great golfer until, it happens.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. That's why I'm saying about you're so important, and Arrested Development is so important because you guys happen. And now that's there. So, just talk about, well, first of all, before we get any further, we ask everybody that comes on the show, we ask everybody to tell us their Rapper's Delight story. So where were you, or what happened, or how was it? What's your Rapper's Delight story?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I wanted to say that, man.
Okay.
You was giving a lot of love to Arrested Development to me, and I appreciate that. But man, let me tell you, Sugarhill Gang was my first introduction to hip hop, and for me, it was just mind-boggling. Like I hear this record because my dad used to own a nightclub, a disco back in the day, and so I used to get the promo records. You know what I mean, with the holes in the bottom right corner, bottom left corner, and I had Rapper's Delight, and my dad brought it to me, and I was peeping it out. Sugarhill Records, I'm throwing it on, and I'm expecting to hear, stuff like Good Times, like Freedom, various stuff that's out back in these days, grooves, nice R&B grooves, dance grooves, and I'm expecting to hear that. Then I start hearing voices. I said a hip hop, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm totally like baffled by the fact that the voices kept going. At the most, I thought it was going to be an intro, and then it was going to be some song lyrics, and then a bridge and a chorus and so on. So I was thinking, but then it just kept being voices, and then it was like 5 minutes went past, then 7 minutes went past, and 8 minutes went past, and I'm like, what is this? Like, this is, and I'm telling you, I'm for real when I say this, it literally blew my mind. I had never heard anything in my life like hip hop music, and that Rapper's Delight just blew my mind. I could not stop talking about it. I went to school. I was in elementary school. I went to school. I started telling my friends about it. One of my best friends, TA, he heard it too. And he was like, yo, yeah, I think I actually played it for him. He absolutely lost his mind. We ended up becoming a rap crew probably about 2-3 years later based on Rapper's Delight. And of course, the things that would come after that, Apache, all types of stuff.
Yes.
You know,
Eighth Wonder, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Eighth Wonder, Apache,
Yes.
and even Grandmaster Flash Furious 5 Wheels,
Yes.
Vince on the Wheels of Steel, which also blew my mind because that's what made me want to be a DJ. Because I seen people DJ at my dad's disco, but you remember how we used to DJ.
They were just blending the records. It
would start to fade out, and that was as it was fading out, not to the beat. You drop the other joint in. And people would have to sort of learn what a beat was, and then they come back in with the new track. It wasn't even on beat, at least back where my, So I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and so that whole rhyming, scratching to the beat or putting things in, mixing it to the beat, that was like unheard of. So it was all revolutionary. It was all like turning the world upside down. And I was like, man, this is a movement that I want to be a part of. So that's my Rapper's Delight story, bro.
Incredible, man.
So I can never say what it means to be on this podcast. Like when I got the information that y'all was doing a podcast and that you might want to have me on, I was like, yo, guaranteed, without a question, I'll be honored to do it. And let me say this one last thing, that a lot of people say they're honored, and I say it too a lot, and that word gets used a lot, but on the real, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have the things that I have. I wouldn't have seen the things that I've seen with my eyes, and I wouldn't have heard the things that I heard without y'all putting it out there back in, what was it, 78, was it? What was it?
79. 79.
Yeah. If y'all would not have put your foot forward and just went for it, I don't think that I would be here today, because that was like the honest first part of my whole journey.
Wow.
I'm gonna just say this, and like I said, one of the reasons, and we tell everybody, 1979 to 1985 was the first wave of us. So we, the initial cutting the records, doing all the first time situations, touring television, so forth. And then in 1985, I stepped away from the whole situation. And as I told you, between 85 and 2005, I was a witness to the situation. I was a spectator to this thing. 2005, I came back into the fold with my brother right there and my other brother. And of course, my lifelong brother, Michael Wright. And what I've had to do over the last 10 years is really come to terms with the actual magnitude of how many really profound people lives that we've affected up to and including today. Now the whole thing for me has always been that I never wanted to be in the celebrity mainstream paparazzi. That's never been my thing, but I've always wanted a chance to be able to do what I'm doing right now, which is talk to people who are affected. So when I say to you, man, us doing this podcast is a monumental move for me, because it's given me a chance to really come to terms with the magnitude of us. You know what I mean? I didn't understand it. I'll be honest with you. I did not understand it. I really didn't. And now that I do, as much as like I said, like I told you when we talked earlier, I saw the Tennessee thing. I was wow, this is amazing. And the collaboration of the group and all of that. And I was like, wow, this is, but what's the guy that passed away? What was his name?
Baba OJ.
Like this. Yeah. Like we all, I came from it, it's all, we were groomed as recording artists. So that's the thing that people don't always understand. Initially, yes, we were rappers, but because we came from the doo-wop era and the soul era, we were groomed as rappers. So it was all about being pretty and being, fly. And then here's a group. And, you got a cat that's like an elderly dude. And then you had another situation in there. And I was like, so, to feel like, and I'm going out, to feel like I'm starting to feel like I'm connected to that. You see what I'm saying? Whereas, again, like I said, I was a spectator to it for so many years. Right. When I hear you talking, it's like, wow, that's another part of it's like being parents and having children. No doubt. And the children have children, and then the children, like I have grandchildren. So it's like, my son and then my grandchildren, and they're gonna have children. And this is what this thing is really becoming, man. That's right. You know what I mean? It's deep, man. It's deep.
It's a family tree, baby. And it is deep. You're right. Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
Yeah. So tell me, what year did you meet Headliner, and what inspired the two of you to really form the group Arrested Development?
1988.
No,
gang, he wins.
No, it was 87. It was 87. I came
87. I was a year off.
I came to Atlanta, and I already had a rap crew. As I was just telling you, Master G, I had a rap crew back in Milwaukee, which is where I'm from. We was doing our thing, but we were in high school by this time. So by this time, we're putting out 200 records at a time, and we're making a name for ourselves in Milwaukee. But Milwaukee got crazy violent. I decided to, look, if I don't leave here, I'm going to die. So I decided to come to Atlanta because I spent my summers in Tennessee and I love the whole Southern energy. So I left the Midwest, went to Atlanta because there was a school called the Art Institute of Atlanta there. And
your own or your family moved?
Just me.
Oh, just you? Okay.
Literally the day I graduated from high school, that next day I broke off and went to Atlanta.
Wow.
And it was by myself. And the first week, because I think I shared, I was a DJ at first. And if I didn't, I was a DJ. I started off as a DJ. So scratching, mixing, all of that. And the first week of being at that school, I put up a flyer. I said, look, I want to start a group. And I didn't know the name of the group or anything yet, but I said, I want to start a hip hop group. I want to do this, that, and the other. And I need a DJ. And this dude named Tim was looking at the flyer for a long time. And I peeped him. I was like, yo. So I just started talking to him. And we started building just as friends. And then, it would become me and him started doing shows together and so on and so forth. And then it would grow from there. So that's how I met my man Headliner. And that was back in '87 at the Art Institute of Atlanta.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Your message has been positive throughout. I mean, we spoke of it just a little bit before we started. I was telling him, G, that it's beautiful when you look back at a body of work of positivity. A lot of times speech we're told that our audience is 8 to 80. Right. And it's interesting because that means that what you're saying is positive, it's good, and I could bring my grandkids to come see the show. I could bring my great grandkids to see the show. Yeah. This can go on and on, like you were saying. It keeps going, and your messages are so clear. Even if you're just talking about certain situations, you're explaining it. It's not the same as a violent aspect of anything. You're basically trying to stop half the things that are going on and explain and express a person's pride and the village. Like it was almost like you were saying, like, this is the village. We are the people. Yeah. We need love. We need to share. We don't need to do this. We need to embrace each other. And that's the message that I was getting from the music and just listening to the musicality of it, the way that it changed, the working of the Afrocentric rhythms and man, I take my hat off to you, fam.
Thanks.
It's good love.
Yeah, the thing I liked about you guys, man, you was able to incorporate, that Southern culture into your music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, for me, like, cause I mean, obviously Sugarhill Gang is positive. You know what I mean? Like when I first heard y'all's music, like it brought smiles to my face. It brought good times. Like, I mean, no pun intended, good times, you know.
Yeah.
It brought smiles to everybody's face, right? I mean, like when that record comes on, I don't care who you are. It's like, that's the energy that you get. But I was going to say too, that we as a people, we're positive people. Like, you know, we've all had a chance to travel now. We've been a lot of places, whether Dubai or Africa or whatever. And we've had a chance to travel. And, you know, our people across the planet really are very positive people. We believe in family. We believe in spirit. We believe in, you know, unity and trying to be together. You know what I'm saying? We believe in trying to put good energy out into the world. And absolutely, we have never bombed any nations. We have never, you know, taken over people's nations and stolen their resources and you know, enslaved their people. And that's not what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? So I find it amazing that over time, the whole reputation of us has gotten flipped upside down, where, you know, if a brother like me just represents what I think we actually just are, you know, it's like, we are positive. Like that's who we are. Like I was, before we started this interview, I'm peeping out, my man right there was like, Diamond was like, yo, talking about his children and how he's like repping his children, his family, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we do. That is who we are. And I'm so like, sometimes I get frustrated with how our whole image, you know, I was watching a debate last night with Donald Trump and how he couldn't even denounce white supremacy. Like a lot of people's images of us is so negative and it's so like, yo, we gotta kill these people or else they're gonna kill us. And we ain't never been about that. Like that's not even our real energy, like at the essence of who we are. You know what I'm saying?
And speech, not only that, just to piggyback off of what you just said is so real. Not only would he not denounce white supremacy, he's trying to stop the teaching of our culture. He don't want white people to understand us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he said last night he said it was negative.
Yeah.
He said that teaching was negative. He was talking about racial sensitivity was negative. I don't like that energy.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. No, we all know that. You know that being, like you said, speech, that the travel is the thing that most people in America don't understand about. Really being you really get a real view of us as a people. You get the real view of us once you get off of the, you know, the continental United States of America, and you start going into, like, you know, like you said, you know, you're in Africa and you're in Asia and you're in these countries, man, and you got to you start really getting, oh, wait a minute, man, you know, it's mellow. It's not.
You can feel
it. It's not intense. It's not. You know, because their perception of us is, you know, we'll snap. You know, you run up on somebody, we get ready to snap.
Right, exactly.
And that's not. And that's it's completely opposite. I'm really glad that you brought that up, because you know, as a mature person of color, because you know I'll be 59 in January. Thank you. I'm happy. As a mature person of color, you know, I preach positivity and tranquility every day. You know, I'm working to spread as much love as I can in the world on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? And to a lot of people, you know, it's people like, wow, man, wow, boy, you're just so, you know, you're so cool and you're so mellow and it's amazing. You know, you're so positive. And a lot of times I want to say, well, that's because you really think it's a big deal, but it's really not.
It's not.
You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, that's why, and that's another reason why when your opportunity came to present yourself, people were thrown off by it.
Yeah,
because all you were doing is what was in your heart. Because that's what I was going to ask you. Where did your inspiration come? Because my inspiration initially, you know, when I write a lyric or I write a song, it's about something that happened or something that is going on in my life. It's like I tell people too, you know, I came from a lower middle class kind of lifestyle. You know, I lived in the suburbs of New York. It was New Jersey, but the suburbs. And so, you know, I wasn't in, you know, intense situations. And so I didn't speak to a life like that. I spoke to a life of, becoming the greatest in history and, being popular with women and, being at a party and, and same thing with Mike, et cetera, on and on. So that was my inspiration. And it just evolved as you get older and you learn more and you experience, you become better read and, you see things, then your mindset for lyrics changes. And by the way, I listened to the new album, by the way, the demon, make sure I get it right. Don't fight your demons. Yes. We'll talk about that. I'm jumping around, but I was going to ask you that, like, where's your inspiration? And I figured it, and I said, I don't need to ask him. I don't need to ask Beach about his inspiration because his inspiration is natural. It's your environment. It's what like me. It's what came out of you. So that's what you put into the music.
It's funny, dude, because like, just like most young people, when I was like 17, 16, I'm trying to be like Run DMC. I'm trying to be like LL. I'm trying to be like, NWA. I'm trying to get on. Like, number one, I'm trying to get on. So whoever's on, I'm trying to get on that. You know what I'm saying? And then the second thing is I'm trying to find myself just as a human being. Like, yo, who am I? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? And how can I be good with the girls? How can I be good with the dudes? Like, how am I going to get along in this world? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to find myself. And then, so I'm doing various type of, like, some of it's gangster, some of it's not really hard gangster, but it's just like, mess. It was similar to what you was talking about, Diamond, with your son. It's like, it's just messing around with certain themes and sort of gangster themes. And then I was like, you know what, this really isn't who I am, but I'm trying to study what's going on. I'm trying to study what's hot. And then it's like, okay, I really had to start digging deep. But I tell you, like, some of the groups that inspired me to, like, really try to go deeper into who I was groups like Public Enemy. Because when I heard them, they were on more of a hard energy, but I felt this whole consciousness. Like, what is he talking about? Farrakhan's a prophet, or he was talking about, like, Panther power. Who the Panthers? Like, it was stuff that I didn't know nothing about, even though it was so much about American history. They weren't teaching none of this stuff. So I didn't know what it was. And so this hip hop was telling me about this, and I was getting curious. Then, of course, De La and Tribe and all of that native tongues type of stuff was inspiring musically. So I guess my point is that over time I started to realize, man, there's a lot out there, and I started to find who I really was. So by the time Arrested Development was, when I was writing for Arrested Development, I was way more authentic to who I am.
Oh, that's obvious.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank God at an early age, because, I mean, some people it takes longer to find that for themselves. But for me, I was like 21. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's prime craziness time for most people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, when I was 21, I was one of the most popular black entertainers in America, and I was losing my damn mind.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Which happens to most of our entertainers.
No doubt. Yes. How was it working with Spikelee? Doing the song for Malcolm X.
Yeah, I did. We did Revolution for Malcolm X, and let me tell you, it was a dream come true. We was at a club in New York, actually, and a place called Mary Jane's. We was rocking with Last Poets, which obviously is heroes of mine. And so they opened up for us. We packed out, sweaty club. And who's in the dressing room? When I go back to the dressing room after the show, it's Spike Lee. And Spike didn't know it, but this brother has always been a hero to me since he did, School Days and a lot of that, a lot of the classics he's done. And so I had written him letters and everything, telling him, look, I really love your stuff. I would love to be on some of your soundtracks, but he never got these letters. So long story short, he's backstage and I'm freaking out. I'm like, yo, this is like Spike freaking Lee. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was backstage and he's telling me he wants us to do, a song for, at the time, he was going to do a movie called Love Supreme, which was going to be about Coltrane. And it turned out that he ended up doing Mo Better Blues, which was sort of like a twist on that, I guess, on what his first idea was going to be. He did Mo Better Blues. Then he called me, and I didn't know none of this, but Chuck D, he called Chuck D to do Malcolm X, and Chuck and them was going through some drama with Griff and all types of stuff that was going on inside of PE. So he's like, yo, it's not good territory right now. Why don't you call speech? He called me and said, yo, and I didn't even know about the Chuck part at the time. Chuck told me about that later. He called me and was like, yo, you want to do this record? I mean, this malcolmx, which was, malcolmx is literally, he's like probably one of my top 5 human beings that's ever lived. So I was honored, and I was scared. I was scared because I'm a producer and a lyricist for AD. So I was scared because Public Enemy just did freaking Fight the Power for Do the Right Thing, and that joint crazy. So I was like, man, okay, we got to do something. So it was great, man. It was great.
So you knew you had to come hard. You knew you had to come hard. Right.
Had to come hard. Go hard or go home, baby. So
that's it.
But it was great. Man. It was great, man, and it was a great experience. We filmed that video in Brooklyn, and right in front of his shop, pretty much down the street from his shop, Fort Greene area, and it was. Let me tell you, it was just ridiculous. Probably 500-600 extras. We did that video in 7 hours. It was the quickest music video I had ever done at that time. But the most people, he was so professional, so on it, so organized. It was a great experience. Great experience.
I would love an opportunity to do anything with Spike Lee. You know what I mean? I mean, he to me is the well, I don't want to use Polanski because of his situation, but as far as credit wise, but his Michael Mann is a director.
No doubt.
He directed one of my favorite films of all time is a movie called Thief with James Caan and Michael Mann. Yeah, and the first time I saw Thief and I looked at it, the way that he blocked the shots and the way that he set the lighting and the realism of the whole situation, I was blown away by him. And the same thing applies when you look at Spike Lee films.
No doubt. Spike has got a signature look, man.
Oh my God! I mean, I love the thing that he does when he floats the artist down the street. But just the way he sets, like Mo Better Blues was incredible. Just by the way that he set up the characters and developed the whole the whole flow. And then that's the other thing. His movies flow. And then the Malcolm X thing. That was a hard movie to get made. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but
funded and everything. Bill Cosby.
Yeah. A lot of people because the powers that be really did want the movie made, right? And so no, they didn't. So they fought against it. They kind of gave him the official. Well, we can't get the money together. But Spike, he pushed the button, man, and of course the powers that be came in, and that movie was made. Probably one of the greatest films ever done, which of course Denzel
got it for that one.
Well, no, Denzel got it. They gave Denzel it through Training Day, but the reason why, Spike, the reason why they did it was because of Malcolm X and all the other films that Denzel's done. But I read some stuff on Malcolm later on, and and I watched a few documentaries on him recently. And God, the mannerisms that Denzel, he just got him to a T, man.
Denzel, him to a T. Consummate professional, dude.
Oh my God,
Spike Lee, both of them, just absolutely top-notch, top-tier professional. Right.
So look, man, listen. So I know we got a lot. So we could talk for hours. I mean, literally, for hours, literally. I mean, but I want to get into this new album. It's important for me to do that because. And one of the things that I'm doing with this is I'm being as candid as I can with people because this is my first opportunity. I usually don't listen to anybody's stuff. I don't want to hear things. People try to give me music. But again, if I respect a person's abilities, and Diamond will know that, if I respect somebody, I'm going to do my homework, man. You know what I mean? And I did. I'm still listening to it. But I just want to talk about this one situation. You got a song on there called "Becoming." Yeah. Is that right? Okay. Becoming. So the first verse is about a child. Yep. In a domestic violence situation. Now I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story, okay? So I never knew my biological father. Okay. I'm listening to this song, right? I never knew my biological father. I was raised by step parents, okay? When I was 15 years old. So this is 2 years before I became Master G of the Sugarhill Gang. So 2 years before that, my mother was in an abusive relationship with my stepfather. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
He used to beat her profusely. I've never told this story in public. Okay.
Wow.
So I used to live in fear as a child.
Yeah.
Always lived in fear.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where it was so bad that I figured I had to do something. Now, I came from a situation where you didn't talk about what went on outside the house. I grew up in the 60s and the 70s. So the long and short of it is, this one particular night, he was beating my mother. Yeah. Okay. And I did the one of the things that you don't do, which is call the police.
Yeah.
So now this is the situation. And then of course my parents went on to, the police came to the house, and, you know, we left and went to Brooklyn. And so this is all leading up to, you know, after we went to Brooklyn, we came back to Jersey. I was in Hackensack. Hackensack led to Englewood. Englewood led to meeting Sylvia, and the rest is history. But the thing that got me was, I'm listening to this song.
Yeah.
You know, now the flip is, of course, you know, when the police came, the mother did what most women do in that situation, which is, and it's just really just fear on the woman's part. A lot of people don't understand that. The reason why a woman will say nothing's wrong, everything is cool, because they fear the backlash of what's going to happen after the police leave.
They don't trust that the police is going to take care of the situation.
They don't. They don't. And see, a lot of times people didn't know, because like I said, my mother, she stayed in that relationship for a long time before she eventually had the nerve, that night, we left that night. The night that the police came, we left and went to my grandmother's house in Brooklyn. And that was the catapulting thing for them to finally separate. But before that, he had beat on her many times. She used to show up at family functions with black eyes and, you know, the whole 9 yards, man. And, you know, like you say in the song, you know, you bruise a lot. That's what you was talking about. I was like, you know, and I got beat. You know what I mean? And I used to come to school with whelps on me and the whole 9 yards. So when I heard that song, and I was like, wow, I don't know what your experience is for writing that, but I can tell you right now, man, not very many people are willing to put that out there like that. I mean, and it gave me the confidence. It gave me the confidence to have this conversation. I don't even think Harry and them even know that story. You know what I mean? So man, that's deep. That right there.
You know, when you were talking about and saying that people don't trust that law enforcement can protect them, a lot of the situations are put before people, and a lot of for domestic situations, it's a lot more than just whether you think that the police can protect you. This person is telling you as soon as they leave, we're gonna do something to you. I remember, and I'm speaking about this speech because I had another life before this one, and in that capacity, I served as the guy that came to the house. So. You know,
Diamond was a police officer for how long, D?
I retired after 30.
30 years, right? Okay, go ahead.
It was really crazy because some people would actually have you in their house and they're telling you nothing's going on, going on. But if you look deeper in, you know, a situation I had, I can't say what it was, but it was a woman. And she stood there and she told me nothing was wrong. And the guy was standing right there. And then I just kept looking at her and kept tilting my head. And as soon as he turned his head and took his eyes off my gaze, out of the thing, the girl pulled her shirt down and I could see the red. You know what I'm saying? But she was in fear for her life. A lot of people don't forget that, you know, the two things that happen is a lot of people go back to situations because of financial and or what have you, or they just figure they can make it work. If a person is whipping that ass, it ain't gonna stop.
Exactly.
You know, it is what it is. And you can tell them all night long, you know, we gonna do, but if that person goes back up in the north, if you take out a restraining order on someone and you let them back into their house, the person that was restrained gets arrested.
Right.
In the South, if you let that person back in your house, you going to jail too.
Wow.
So, I mean, it helps for domestic violence. I mean, I thought it was a very powerful video, but the way you finished it up, trying to teach, again, you're trying to teach. You're talking about something, and you're saying what can happen. Not only the bad end of it, but where it can go and what you need to teach.
Yeah. First of all, I appreciate, man, that you sharing that, because to me, that's the thing that I want our music to have a little more of that, you know, and I say a little more, really, I just want it to have balance, because we have a lot of records that talk about the hard times that we're facing, but we don't have enough records that talk about how we can get out of that joint, or at least give us motivation. You know what I'm saying? Like some type of soundtrack to it. If we're trying to get out, we got something that motivates us along with our own self-motivation and whatever other tools we're using. Something else is sort of giving us that push. I felt like that. And that story comes from, I did a film called 16 Bars, and I went into the jail of Richmond, Virginia to work with inmates.
All right.
Yeah.
And one of the inmates I worked with, his name was Anthony, and you'll see the movie. It's on YouTube, bros. Y'all should check it out. It's really, really powerful. I think you'll be moved by, right? So it's on YouTube. It's called 16 Bars, the film. So just check that out. But
definitely,
in that film, I talked to this brother named Anthony, and he shared a lot of that story, because that's not my personal story. Thank God, I didn't have that.
That's good. That's one of the questions I wanted. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was not my past. So I brought up his story for everybody to be inspired by this man, and I dedicated the video to him. And you get to hear basically the same story that I'm talking about in Becoming is basically the story he shared with me on film on this documentary that I put out called 16 Bars, the film. So it's like tying those two things in.
And that's where, like we were talking about as far as inspiration, it could be something that happens to you, or something that you heard, or something that somebody told you, or that can inspire you to create a lyric. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You really embrace the therapy thing, then, you know what I mean? While people that need therapy and stuff like that, because there's a lot of people that out here, even artists are dealing with that type of thing.
No doubt about it.
Every day.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people now really starting to pay attention. I know we got on, we getting heavy on this whole domestic thing, because it's unfortunately in the struggle of our living, it's really a major thing, man. And
it's even more now that we're locked in together with COVID-19.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. Every situation that was brewing in a day-to-day situation has now become the heightened situation in this lockdown, because the simple fact that everything is done like this.
Yep.
Yeah. So now whereas you had, you was out for 8 hours or whatever the case may be, or you was over there, or you was down at the bar, whatever the case may be. Now you're, and whatever you're right.
And whatever financial situation is probably tougher, and all of that. Now you're stressed.
All of that, man. Yeah.
So everything is now, become a major catastrophe. Yeah. And everybody's sensitive right now, man. I mean, everybody's sensitive. But there are a lot of people that are really trying to put Jay-Z and Chris Rock, and a lot of people are trying to, do some cool things, talking about that kind of therapy. Talk to me about Vagabond Productions, man. What's the development of that? How did that, to coin a phrase, development? What's the development, Vagabond? How did that come about?
Well, I started Vagabond in '93 because when Arrested Development blew up, I came from a self-determination family. Like, that's what my mom and dad were all about. They both were like really about, let's make our own opportunities as a people. Let's hire our own people. Let's try to insulate ourselves with people that we know from the hood, from the community, so that we could do our own thing and not rely on everybody. So when Arrested Development blew up, my parents said, yo, you need to have your own office space. You need to, buy your home. Don't rent your home. Don't pay a mortgage on your home. Now that you got a little money, buy that home so you have it. Get some land. Stuff like this. So like they were really adamant about that. So my company Vagabond started in '93 as a way to try to control AD's business and try to do the best we could to make sure people weren't sort of puppet stringing us all the time. You know what I mean? And like,
yes.
But, you know, I'll say I'm proud of it. And at the same time, again, as I said earlier, I was 22 years old, 23. I'm still a young dude that's never had a hit record, that's never been in the music industry in a big way. And I come from a small town of Milwaukee, so I didn't have a bunch of cats that already made it. I didn't have like a Red Alert over here that already was telling me to do this, or Marley Marl, or, you know, I didn't have none of that stuff. It was Milwaukee. Nobody had made it in hip hop yet. I was the first to make it in that way from hip hop. So I think that, you know, I had still a lot of learning to do, but Vagabond was my company. And we started putting our records out through that, and also doing concerts and stuff like that, and just trying to make things happen.
Very smart move, man. And that's another reason why I wanted to bring it up, because, you know, hopefully, you know, we'll have an opportunity for so many people to hear these things, you know, to hear this. So many young cats that, you know, initially when I started making records, there was no aspiration to do this. You follow what I'm saying? You know, I didn't even go into it thinking that, you know, I would own property or this. I'm going to do this, and I'm gonna have, serious money. I wasn't doing that. I was like, you know, I'm gonna cut this record and go back to school, and, you know, I'm gonna get a date and I'm gonna be good. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but after us, you know, and this is what's, again, my epiphany. After us, the people that were doing this were now aspiring to be us. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. The cat that saw me on Soul Train, or the guy in my neighborhood saw me driving down the street in that sports car, you know, with the girl and the whole 9 yards, and, you know, heard about me living in the high rise. Now that cat wanted to be me. And then it mushroomed on and on and on. So what happens is, a lot of times you have so many young people now that are aspiring to do this, but they're not taking the steps that they need to be elder statesmen in this thing. You know, with us, we had to evolve, and we had to kick and scream and fight and scrape and the whole 9 yards. Now, through the grace of God and everything else, we won, you know, but you know, initially, you know, we had to fight, man. You know, we didn't know anything about, you know, starting our own company. We didn't have a Wonder Mike Master G Incorporated. We didn't have that, you know, and here we are, we go now to you and your situation, and boom, you know, you have the Vagabond Productions, and that Vagabond Production now encapsulates everything that happens with Arrested Development. So now it's a business, it's a corporate structure. You see what I'm saying? We want to put that signal out there for the young individuals, man. Not only aspire to be us in that respect, in the respect of, yes, you want to be heard, yes, you want to be on television, yes, you want to make, you know, serious money. Aspire to make sure you do that. But I will say this, it's a lot different now, you know, because with the age of information, you know, the Information Highway Act, you know, the internet, it's a lot different. You know, everything was closed door to us. You know, we had to find the holes. We had to find the information. You know, we had to search for it like buried treasure. You know what I mean? But by the time, you know, you came along, it was out there, because the run was out there by now. You know, Russell was doing his thing, and, you know,
Andre Harrell doing his thing. You know,
Andre was doing his thing, right? So when somebody said, start your own business, you're like, oh yeah, well, that's what Russell did, you know, and that's what and you know, so yes, man, but I'm, like I said, I'm still listening to the album. Moses, come on, man, come on, man.
Second track on the record too. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, man. And then the first track, man, Back Down. And I heard the Milwaukee reference in those first two tracks. That's why I was going to ask you, are you from Milwaukee? Because I know you say you're born.
I know y'all did gigs in Milwaukee, right? Y'all have gigs.
No question. Yeah. The first time we ever performed with Rick James was at the Milwaukee Civic Center. Me and Mike, every time we ever performed with Rick James was in Milwaukee. So that's a very special place for us. Al Heyman show. I talked about that before.
Al Heyman, exactly.
Yeah, Al Heyman was doing the Rick James Street Song Tour, and we opened up for him. And
nice.
we opened up at the Milwaukee Civic Center. We played there many times.
I knew it. it.
And
Milwaukee's
at one
of those places. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Milwaukee's one of those places that people don't know. If they ain't never been there, they don't know what it feels like. But Milwaukee is actually very racially divided town. And it's a lot of hardship for every black that's in Milwaukee. It's rated one of the top 10 worst places for black people to live right now. I'm talking about in 2020 and when I was a kid. So it's a tough place to navigate, and race is very real, whether you want it to be or not. It's not like I go around wanting to think through everything through a racial lens, but when you're in Milwaukee in particular, everything is divided up like that. There was no black suburbs, for real. There actually wasn't. And there still really isn't. And most blacks lives in the ghetto. And if you were black in a suburb, you were one or two families in a white suburb. It was not a black suburb like now in Atlanta where I live. There's black suburbs in various places. I mean, it's a whole different dynamic, but it wasn't that way growing up. It was very one side of the track, the next side of the track.
Right. Yeah, I actually spent some time in Milwaukee in the early 2000s. I was involved in a direct sales business, and Milwaukee was one of the places that I actually went to and did business in. And you're right, there was no real there was a very there was a few this and we talking about the early 2000s. It was still like you knew that you were in a different area when you went. You went on one side of the street, and it was one thing happening, and directly on the other side, man, was a whole nother community going down. If you went a little bit further down, and the streets are up and down, straight up and down.
Yeah,
very
organized. It's almost like DC. Everything is very organized, Exactly. Cross streets, everything is like that. You know what I mean? So a lot of people who also, we talked about this earlier, like a lot of people who wonder, well, why is he on some racial stuff like so much on his music throughout the years? But that's why. I couldn't ignore it. Like being in Milwaukee, like being in New York, you might be able to ignore it a little bit because it's so much of a melting pot. You got Iranians, you got Africans, you got Jamaicans, you got Latinos, you got, but in Milwaukee.
Britain, you got it. Yeah, you're right. Definitely.
Different.
Yeah, man. On a grand level, on a world stage level, man. You have done some serious traveling. Yeah, like us, but you have done some serious traveling, man. Tell us and there's not one place, but I mean, if you could just get into like a significant situation, like the first time I went to Switzerland, I had an epiphany. You know what I mean? It was like, we had been to in the early years, we had been to like Germany, France, England, so forth and so on. But in the 2000s, when I got back with Hand and Diamond, and Mike and I put this version of Sugarhill Gang together, 2007 was the first time that I had ever gone to Switzerland, and it was like, now if people say, if I said, well, what one place would you live in if you could? And it would be Switzerland. That's how moved I was by it. Do you have any experiences like that?
Yeah, definitely. Switzerland is beautiful. I love it. It's clean. It's gorgeous. The architecture. The
you ever been by Lake Neuchâtel, bro?
No, I never heard of that. No, but it's in Switzerland. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. But I mean, for me personally, Australia is a place that I've wanted to live. I love it. In whether it's Sydney or Adelaide or Brisbane, anywhere in Australia, I've always had a great time. My wife and I have been wanting to move to South Africa, but truth is we ain't been to all the countries that we want to visit in Africa. So we might want to go to Ghana, which I talk about on this record.
Cape Town is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Cape Town is gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? We've been to Johannesburg about, I think it was a year and a half ago. We fell in love with Joburg. So, I mean, the bottom line is, I think my top 3 places I would want to live, Australia, Africa, one of the countries in Africa, or Asia, Japan in particular. Like, these are 3 places that I just love.
Yeah.
Dubai?
I love Dubai. I actually really dig Dubai. Yeah, like, it's funny. I went to Dubai numerous times. We went indoor skiing at the what do you call it? The big mall there. I forget, but
I haven't been yet. I'm working to get there.
We still trying to get there.
Yeah, but no, He said we're still trying to get there, but I love to hear the stories. Go ahead.
No, Dubai is incredible, man. I liked Old Town. So Dubai, you know, is pretty new in a sense, right? Because the Old Town is the old school Dubai. And then once the riches from that oil money came in, the new Dubai popped up, and it's like crazy. It's like Vegas on steroids. You know what I mean? Like,
you're talking about the mall of Emirates. The Mall of Emirates.
Emirates. Yeah.
Emirates.
Let me tell you, it's crazy. Like, the riches in that country is like outrageous. People riding around in Bentleys, like just buck wild. But I like the vibe that I'm on to. I like the old school Dubai. Like when my queen and I went to the old city, they call it, and we was like, now this is Dubai. This is what I felt the people. Because I'll be honest, like for me, I love the big malls and all of the attractions. But it reminded me of America because they're trying to appeal to American sensitivities, and they want our money. You know, they want that dollar from the Western nations. You know how it goes. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So they're on some, let's get that money. But when you go to old Dubai, like you feel their actual culture and what these people are about. And I love it, man. Like I would live there for a second. You know, I live anywhere for a heartbeat. But as far as really trying to settle roots, it probably wouldn't be Dubai, but I love it. I love going there.
I got a question. I got a question for you. When you was when AD was nominated for the Grammy you guys won, congratulations on the 2 Grammys, by the way.
Yeah, God bless.
And
man.
For Best New Artist, did you have any clue that you were going to win it, or you didn't know, or how'd you feel at that time?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It was a crazy time, bro. It was, you know, Master G, you talk about like the early years and like how, at least what I get from what you said is like, it was just almost surreal how fast things started to move once they started to move, right? And that's how it was with our record. Like when the first record started to really like take on and catch on, we was everywhere. We was on all the award shows. So like we was doing the American Music Awards, and then 2 weeks later we was at the Grammys, and then the next week we was at Soul Train Awards. And then so like the award shows happened in this particular stretch of time. And so when you're in it, like we were, it's sort of surreal. And we knew we was nominated. I knew that obviously, you know, at least for me, I can't speak for y'all, but when you were a kid, you watched the Grammys and you're like, you see it, Herbie Hancock, Rocket, and like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be on that stage. I can't wait to be acknowledged like that. It's a dream. It's like an absolute number one dream of an artist. And so, unfortunately, and this is why, like, when this record's doing well right now, I'm trying to live differently. I didn't inhale that moment the way I wish I would have. Like, everything was moving so fast that we was just sort of like catching up, you know, like just like flailing around trying to make sure we keep up with the schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man.
I didn't feel like I really just stopped and said, okay, let me breathe this in right now. Look at what's happening here, God. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have, so I sort of regret it, and I sort of course, I'm grateful for it, like ridiculously grateful. But I also slightly regret that I didn't breathe it in the way I should have. So to answer your question as to whether or not we knew, my manager, I don't know if I'm supposed to ever say this, but he told me, he said, because I wanted to sit in the 4th row somewhere. And he was like, no, y'all need to sit in the front row because I think something about to happen tonight. And he, you know, he wasn't talking about violence or nothing. He was like, yo, I think something about to happen.
Right.
Like, oh, okay. So let me sit in the front. So that's,
right.
That was the hint. That was the hint that we're about to do something, you know, something's about to jump off with this Grammy.
You do a lot of things.
That was the coolest thing. I thought that was the coolest thing, man. I was so proud of you guys, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
You know, in speech, you do a lot of things. You sing, you rap. It's a whole bunch of other things. There's some things in there that we don't know about on the production end, or what's your acts? You know, what's up, man?
Yeah, so I do. I mean, you know, I told you I started off as a DJ. So all the scratching on this record, well, I shouldn't say, most of the scratching on this record is all me. So I definitely DJ still. And then I produce. So like, you know, the whole first album, I'd say probably 98% of it is produced by me. This record, probably about, I don't know, 30% of it is produced by me. So I'm really like a producer kind of dude. And it's funny, like, because I didn't really initially see myself as being the front dude. Like that wasn't where my energy was. You had spoke about it, Master G, earlier. Like the whole paparazzi thing wasn't your energy. Like I ain't on that, you know? And that's for me too. Like I wasn't on that. And so with Arrested Development, for me to be the lead vocalist, and then of course I would learn that when you're the lead vocalist, most of the people want to interview you. Most of the time they want you to sit, like if you're taking a group photo, Speech, come to the front, move over to right in the middle. You know what I'm saying? And it was like I wasn't on that tip.
Yeah, it wasn't what you were trying to attempt.
It wasn't. But you know, you sort of get pushed into all of that, and people sort of orchestrate how things should look and feel. So I mean, I think that was a different vibe for me, to be honest.
You know, because all of us here, G is our drummer, Hen is our other keyboard player. Yeah, he's a drummer. Henry's our keyboard player and vocalist. I'm the vocalist, percussionist, and the keyboard player. Mike is the bass player.
Yeah.
And you know,
do y'all do live sets sometimes? Do y'all like rock?
Yeah.
No. We have a whole band situation. Yeah, that we play.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you look on YouTube and look at, we did the Formula One for Singapore.
Right.
2 years
Check
ago.
that out. I definitely
And you'll see, I said we had Melly Mel in the front and Scorpio back on. So we had 2 drummers, plus we enlisted college kids to play with us. So we gave college kids a dream job, which was to play with the Sugarhill Gang at the Formula One.
Sick,
and
man.
it was phenomenal. They came in and had one day to get it right.
Wow.
Had a horn section, a guitar player, and was it 3 dancers?
Yeah.
And these kids were just, imagine being a young college kids and getting there to jump on the stage with your dream group.
Of course. I mean,
You know
it's
what I'm
like
saying?
a dream come true.
They'll
be telling their grandkids about this.
Yeah,
you know,
the thing about our music is that, again, for me, it's always been about the creative thing. Once I got past the idea of being, you know, an idol and, you know, girls screaming in the whole 9 yards, I always wanted to get into that. I always wanted to settle into the thing that always inspired me was the ability to be able to create. Because for me, and I'm sure everybody feels this way, writing, recording is a way of expressing. It's a way of it's a real therapeutic way of purging yourself, man. You know, to create something and then put it out there like that, and then give people an opportunity, like the Becoming song. You know, to create something like that, you inspire people. So, you know, moving forward, we again, because it's all about the chapter 2 of Sugarhill Gang, 2005 chapter. Exactly. The thing that Mike and I, we used to hang out in the studio when we were first, like, you know, hip hop stars, if you want to call us. Right. And we would just be him and I, me on the drums and Mike on the bass, and we would be in the studio by ourselves. And we used to say, man, this would be great, man, if we could do this on stage. But we were so locked in to being teen idols and the whole 9 yards, and we had that machine around us that, you know, they wasn't really feeling it. They let me one time. We used to have this little segment of the first show, because we played with a band. Right. So they used to let me do this thing where the stage would fill up with smoke, and then I would get on the drums and I'd play this one song, and the spotlight would hit me and people would go crazy, but it wasn't really something that we could play out. So once we got to the second chapter, and this was like 2 or 3 years of us touring, Mike and I said, man, it would be so cool if we could play live in our shows. So we pitched it.
You rhyme and play at the same time? Like,
yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I actually do the 12 o'clock rap, the 12 o'clock one Friday night. I do that rap at the end of the show, playing the drums at the same time.
That's hot.
Yeah. So we pitched the idea to our booking agency. I'm just giving our booking agency, Lothar and the people out there in Austria. There's a guy that's been working with us. He's actually part of the team that helped develop this podcast for us. But we pitched the idea to see if the promoters overseas would let us play live. And they came back and said yes. Me and Mike was like, oh, snap. It was mind-blowing. So like Diamond said, with him being a musician, and then we had, God rest his soul, Diamond's brother Rob, we literally formatted this whole live set. And what we do is we set the scenario that we all come from a background where everybody played in a band. You know, in our neighborhood, everybody was in a band. So we're going to take y'all back to the days when we was in my mom's basement and we play the songs that inspire us. So we'll and we jam. And it's such an amazing experience, man, to be on stage, man, playing, you know, Cameo, you know, Single Life, you know what I mean? Exactly. And the fans are like,
that's hot, bro.
Because they see the instruments and they expect the, you know, other musicians to come out.
Exactly.
Then I get on the drums and I start rocking the beat. They're like, wait a minute, hold up, man. You know, and then we go into it. So, you know, this thing for me, man, and I'm sure you feel the same way, man, the ability to perform and create, man, is such a gift, isn't it?
Dude, it's an ultimate gift. And like you know what this means. What we're doing now, we got to do a tour together. You know that.
Come on. We got to do the whole
together.
Go, bro. Let's go.
We got to do it.
This is the seed right here.
We got to do it.
Can you vision, and I know you have your visionary like me, can you envision the magnetism of y'all and us doing a show together?
Crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
So look, this is something that, for me, like my ideal setup to do the best show I can possibly do. This is my ideal setup. I'll go to the gym and I did my pre-show workout, right? Yeah. I go back to the hotel, I take a nap, I get up and I shower and I perform, I get myself ready. If I can take a nap, work out, and do that, and when I get to the show, boy, you better believe I'm getting ready. So do you have any like pre-show routine, or do you what do you do?
It's the same way. Like for me, it's all about the quiet before the storm. So like for me, it's funny because a lot of crews that I tour with, like, and I don't blame nobody for doing whatever they do. Like, so I might be on a tour, it might be 4 or 5 other hip hop crews, and they got the girls in the dressing rooms, and they getting lit up, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. But in our dressing room, it's totally different. Like it's real. It's zen. We're chilling. Yes. We just maxing out. We might be joking with each other, talking mess. And then, but when the show comes on, it's showtime, baby. It's ready to go. With the energy it's like, for me, it's energy controlled. It's like, putting water through the pipe instead of letting the water just spill everywhere. It's like, it's control, baby, when we coming. Yeah. And it's always beast. It's always beast mode. It feels great.
It's crazy, Speech, because so many times, man, we always experience this. When we get to the venue, right? And we meet the promoter. He sizing us up, checking us out. He sees, we all laid back. We're not jumping all over.
Suited and booted, fly, dressed.
The room is not all smoked up or whatever the case may be. So then he's saying to himself, well, Dad, when did Rappers Delight come out? 79. How much gas do these guys still have left in the tank?
Exactly. Yeah.
So then when we hit the stage and do our thing, first thing they say, "Oh my God, you guys are incredible!
Wow,
where'd you get all that energy? Oh my God!"
And it's almost like the end of the thing. She's your queen to be. And we're quiet. As soon as we hit it, after we get back off the stage, walk back on. All right, everybody changing. We just chilling. It's just queen to be.
It's that nap. It's that damn old man nap. Boy, I'm dangerous after old man nap.
Oh man.
No, man. This has been incredible, man. This has been incredible, man.
Can I ask one more question of him though? I got one more question.
Yeah.
Okay, Speech. I gotta ask you this, man. How do you feel about the direction that hip hop is going in today in terms of radio and stuff like that? Like we were fortunate enough to have Bob Sinclair on earlier, and he's a great guy. Big shout out to Bob Sinclair. We did a song with him called Lala Song that went #1 over in Europe.
Nice.
So
congrats.
He was saying that, he gave us his answer, and I just wanted to see how do you feel about it? Because basically, he was saying like, it's different, in terms of like they're not letting the young people experience
stuff
like that. So how do you feel about that?
You froze at the very end. So
for a
said they're not letting the young people do what? What'd you say?
They're not letting the young people experience the other artists or the other hit records what came before them. Like today, if they say, oh, we're gonna put on some old school, they'll pull up something from the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? And they call it old school. So if that's old school, what are we?
Exactly.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Like I talk about that on the first track on the album, Back Down. You know, it's for me, I feel like probably two things. I feel like there needs to be more balance because really black music and hip hop in particular is the #1 music genre in the world. So for us, it's more than entertainment. It becomes for a lot of us, it becomes our religion. Y'all probably know certain scriptures that have, I mean, not scriptures, but verses in rhymes that have become like scripture. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it be. And so for us, it becomes a lot of times our religion. It becomes our source of information, like news. It becomes so many things for us. And so I feel like it's more than just entertainment. It's almost like the temperature of where we are as a people. And so if you don't have balance, you are giving the wrong impression to all of the places that we've traveled, whether it be Switzerland, Africa, wherever. You're giving the wrong impression of where we are as black people in America. And that I feel is dangerous. And I feel it's not right for the young people coming up. And then the second thing is what you just said. A lot of these young people are disconnected, like literally cut off from what was happening in hip hop earlier. And that's bad because a lot of them are going to have to learn all over again stuff that we've already been through and want to pass on to them. Like, look, here you go.
Exactly.
Don't make this mistake. Do this right here and go further than us. But they won't learn that if they're disconnected from us. And so that's what those are the two things I feel. It's got to be way more balanced because subject matter wise, we've got to get all of our opinion. Like the whole voice of the black community needs to be represented in our music. And right now, it's not all of us. Some of us is all about strip clubs, all about selling, all about, carrying. But that's not all of us. Now, that's only a slither. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
got to be that balance, man.
Speech.
You're right.
Speech, man. Speech. This has been.
It's too much of one thing. You know what
I mean? Too much.
Yes,
unbalanced, baby. Unbalanced.
This has been outstandingly incredible, man. You know what I mean?
Great.
I mean, to watch you, man, and see what you've done, and my anticipation is, I always have anticipation and I always have anxiety about talking to everybody because I'm socially actually not in the best form. But my thoughts of what kind of person you were are spot on, man. You're the genuine article, man, when it comes to that, that vision that needs to constantly be out here, man. And I hope that you continue to blossom, and I hope that you continue to, be the vision and be the voice and be the consciousness that so many people need, because they need the balance. They got, like you said, they need to get that change. They got, yes, man, I understand you want $100,000 car. I understand you want to be, jewelry dripping in the whole 9 yards, but please, man, get your mind around how you're going to be as a person and what's going on with you as a person in your life. And with that being said, man, we're going to shut this down. As much as I hate to, I'd love to keep it going, but speech, man. Thank you.
Nothing but love, man. Nothing but the honor and respect I had before, it just continues on, and it even goes to the next level for meeting y'all.
That tour together.
No doubt. That's like a guarantee. I want to do that.
Heck with the tour. Let's get that record going. Words need action.
That's right.
I'm gonna do the Hollywood thing. I'm gonna do the Hollywood thing, y'all. Your people get in touch with our people, and our people.
No.
We'll hit each other up. We'll do the math. Like you talked about it, Diamond.
We'll do the math.
Make sure the information gets around to the right people, man, so we can make this happen. And listen, I'm gonna say peace. I'm gonna say thank you, Sugar Hill Gang. This is our podcast. We've been talking to Speech of Arrested Development. We appreciate it so much, man. We want to thank you, Speech. We wish you the best, man. We look forward to talking to you, doing things with you in the future, man. Yeah, thank you, man. So, Sugar Hill Gang, this is our podcast. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, checking us out. This is Master G, and I'm going to say to my brothers, say goodnight, Diamond.
Good night, Diamond.
Say goodnight, man.
Wakanda forever, baby.
Yeah. Say goodnight, Speech. Yeah. Say goodnight, Speech.
Peace, y'all. Love y'all, man. Much love.
Love y'all, man.